The CDN is really the core, part of ensuring that delivery is consistent and rock solid. So both CDNs have a massively distributed edge network where we have content that basically goes to origin at those CDNs, which is like the main storage area, and then it gets replicated out to the edge network, and that's geographically distributed. It takes a lot of stress off of maybe a local ISP, where if everyone had to tunnel through a local ISP and then go back to the same origin server, that would be a big problem. So if there's multiple edge servers that people can go to, then the traffic gets distributed across those edges. We are using a combination of a couple different CDNs. So Limelight and Level 3 are the two CDNs that we're working with. And for live content, we're streaming that using Windows Media Services on Windows Server 2008. And for on-demand content, that's a combination of Windows Media Services, same stream, except it's not a live stream, it's just pulling from a file. Or we also are delivering some content over HTTP. We talked a little bit about it at Mix. We called it adaptive streaming at that point, but in essence, instead of giving you a stream to a Windows Media Services box, we just start feeding you HTTP packages that have smaller amounts of frames, and then those get reconstituted on the client. The neat or interesting thing about that technology is that it gives you the ability to basically fast forward and snap to a particular time code without any buffering. And it also helps the client be a little bit more resilient. So as your bandwidth of the PC starts to degrade or improve, we'll start feeding you beefier packets of video.
Tell us a little bit about the workflow.
Basically, we're getting live feeds from each sporting venue, in most cases multi-camera. Those then get pushed into an encoding infrastructure in Beijing, and then that gets backhauled to New York, and then that gets distributed out to our CDN infrastructure, and then you ultimately see frames rendered inside of the Silverlight or Windows Media Player client. Then we get into Rewind, which is in essence that same live content that you saw, except now on demand. So we go through another encoding process to take those files and get them in the right bit rate. And then those files then get pushed back out to the CDN infrastructure. And then we update the content management system. So whenever you as a user come back in, if you didn't get to see it live, it now shows up in the video list as something that is available for Rewind. There's two other types of content that you'll see. There's highlight and encore content, which is basically content that was produced for television. We then run that through a similar encoding process for Rewind, and then that gets pushed out to the site.